when Trump launched his trade wars, and we talked about that in the past year, this was without concept, without knowledge, without any sophistication at all. It was doomed to fail to meet its objectives, which were stated as reducing the trade deficit, which it did not do, or creating jobs in manufacturing, which it did not do. It was illegal. It turned out to be declared illegal by the US Supreme Court. So you could ask the same thing. How could the whole world trade system be turned upside down last year? Where were the grown-ups? Well, we don't have grown-ups in our government anymore. We just don't. People should understand this. And then they come and they praise Mr. Trump and they love the United States and it's our strategic partner. This is ridiculous at this point. People should grow up and understand what the real situation here is, that this government isn't functioning in the United States and it's doing great damage.
Agenda 21 is kind of a code name for a master plan originated at the United Nations to change the political and economic system of the world to one of total collectivism. And in order to do that, people must not be allowed to have independence. They must be dependent on the state for everything. Otherwise, they won't be easily controlled by the state. That means they can't have private property, mostly. They cannot have land of their own. They have to live in preferably high-rise apartments that are provided to them by the state as a benefit, so to speak. Oh, good, we got a free apartment. But these people at the top want all humans to be dependent on the largesse of the state. That means that they don't want anybody living out in the boonies. Anybody that's got a couple of acres of land and his own water supply and can grow his own food and that kind of thing, or have some sheep or some chickens, these people are a threat to the collectivist society because they aren't going to go to the politicians and say, please feed me, please clothe me, please give me shelter. They tend to be independent. That's the secret behind Agenda 21. They want people out of the country. They want corporations out there growing all the food and that kind of thing, but they don't want anybody living out there because that way they cannot be controlled. In order to control mankind, we have to get them all into the big cities. We have to rack them up and stack them up, get them dependent on the state for their food, their shelter, their electrical power, their water, everything. That's the dirty secret behind Agenda 21.
All righty. So, based on all this clip that I put together, we can kind of summarize it with this. Tuesday of this week, and I believe it was Tuesday, April 7th. So we had Donald Trump make this tweet, and in this tweet pretty much kind of say, hey, they agree to the peace plan, even though I post that on my community tab, but I already know in less than 24 hours he was going to take it back or we trace back on it. So I already know that was going to happen, so I am not shocked. So there are not really any peace plan. Like those things, they don't get resolved by just simply shaking hands and call it the truce. It's just gonna go to the bitter end. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna get nasty, and then a lot of people are gonna lose in the process. Anyway, so let's take a look at how we did this week, and let's take a look at here. So I remember last week on my prognostication, I did mention that price was going to come here, spend a little bit of time, and I said worst case scenario, it will come to this level, 24,420, and then go lower. But if the market is really animated, it will go higher to this level here at 25.19 and then go lower. I mean, even though it kind of got close to that, but it did not roll over the way I thought it would. And I got it wrong. I got the prognostication wrong. So I I mean, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what would be such a great news that would propel the market to go higher. But hey, it continues to surprise me. Like, even though we have a president that lies to his teeth and is very demented, and I'm just describing a situation, I'm not name calling. I mean, that's just it is what it is, and manipulating the market to the max. But the market is still, they want to find a reason for the market to go up, pretty much. And yeah, it's beyond manipulation. Okay. So that's where we are right now. So what happened this week? So what did we have going on here? So we had the FOMC, which was a nothing burger, and then we had the CPI at 8:30. Price did spike up a little bit, but there was a lot of movement in the market, and I think that was probably, well, besides Tuesday, at around at around 7, I believe, or 167. Besides those two big price movement, that's the only time I see a whole lot of price movement throughout the week. So the manipulation is running wild on this one. So guys, that's why I say be careful. The way you position yourself. I mean, seasonal tendencies is pretty much shot. There's not much prognostication I can make at this point based on seasonal tendencies, because everything is going haywire. Everything is being reset. Everything is being set up. Like, you're not gonna get it right. Just accept the fact that, I mean, I know people who've been trading for 20 years. It's hard for them to figure out, okay, which way is going. I mean, once it start going in one momentum, like after Tuesday, you kind of have an idea where it's going to go. But before that, I mean, on Sunday, on Monday, you have no idea. So that's where we are right now. So looking at this seasonal tendency, I did mention at some point that at around mid-April that the market was going to turn around. So it did turn around a lot sooner than I anticipated. It's usually right around that area right here, 422 or early April. That's when I would anticipate the market to turn around, but it looks like it did turn around a lot sooner than anticipated. So what we got going on for next week? Next week we have the PPI on Tuesday. Nothing like it is going to be like last week. And we have the Fed manufacturing. We don't produce anything anymore, or barely, not the way that we used to. And then we have IMF meeting. To me, that's kind of like new in the radar. And yeah, I would, when you have people meeting like this, especially like Jackson Hole or Fed meetings, you always got to watch out. Okay, so I think it's going to start on Monday and then it's gonna go all the way to Friday. So I'll be careful with that. So the fear and greed index, and rightfully so, it looks like it went from extreme to fear. It's still in the fearful because we have a little bit less volatility. So that's why we are seeing the market transitioning into that. Let's take a look into gold and see how we're doing right now. So gold is still hovering around the same price, around 4,700 over the past 2 months. It looks like it shot up a little bit, but not a whole lot more than we anticipated. And that's where we are right now, 4,700, still hovering around that. And then we have Bitcoin. It looks like Bitcoin got a little bit more bounce than silver and gold combined at the same time. So for silver, we're still hovering around the same price, around the 70s. And then for Bitcoin, same thing, hovering around the 70s, but it looks like it's slightly ticking up. And then we have the 10-year treasury yield. It looks like it went down a little bit from last time I checked. I mean, I think it's because of the less hawkish talk from the president, a less aggressive tone, which is why the market is receding a little bit. And then we have oil price, obviously, kind of come down, crashing. So that's where we are right now. But it looks like it's slowly ticking back up. So I would be on the lookout for that. So let's take a look at the graph and see where we may end up next week. Okay. So I believe next week will be very interesting. It will be a lot of funny movement, just like we had a lot of funny movement right around that area here. I think we're going to hit a couple speed bump next week. So we have the level 25 495. I think once we get around that area, we're going to hit a little bit of a speed bump, and then once we get above that, it may accelerate a little bit, and then right around the area 25, I said 25,867, around that area we may get in another speed bump again. So, and then to me, if price is really accelerating up, this is where I really anticipate there might be a major speed bump. That whole suspension block here, and so I'm anticipating there will be a lot of resistance in that area. So that's what I will watch out for. But especially that little meat area right there, where you see that red line here. What's the high on this one? Right out around 26, 42, 25. I think to me this will be the level where it reach, maybe it reach above all the way up to 26 to 18. So right around that area, which is, I think this is where we kind of return lower, like a slight reversal. It may happen next week, it may happen the following week, but the way this has been speeding up, I think it's going to accelerate really quick over there. I mean, of course, that always depends on what the U.S. president said. If the U.S. president said they are going to exterminate another country, then you may see price quickly fall again. We're visiting this little area right there at 24,286. But if we don't hear anything, if everything is calm and quiet, and if there's some kind of negotiation going on, and then if the Port of Hormuz or Strait of Hormuz is open, so I'm seeing a little bit more acceleration on the upside. Okay, so you just have to download Truth Social. Be on the lookout. You cannot use the same vanilla way of watching how things is moving. You literally got to take it day by day, and you really have to do a lot of trade management. So I'll watch out for that. So again, the area I'm anticipating a lot of speed bump is at 25,495, and then other areas right here is around 25,867. We may see another speed bump, and I'm seeing a potential reversal right here at around 25. Let me get that high right here at 26.42. So that's when an area you may see a slight pause and a reversal start going lower, but we'll trade it how it is. So I'll say, if you want to jump into the market, I'll say wait until Monday, see how things pan out, or wait until Tuesday. With that being said, happy trading.